the filter function in Python. The filter function is really similar to the map function. The only difference is that it's just needs a condition so that it can filter some elements and give us back another list of values. So again, it's also requires just a function name and iterable data structure. So let's see how it works in a Python environment. So I'm just going to grab the same data structure, my list, and copy paste here, and I will be using this same list. So what is the task? So let's say task 3. Okay, so given a list of integers, write a code to separate only even numbers from the list. So I want to get a different list of values, and these values I want to have in even numbers, so out of this list. So that's the task. So it's very simple. Result, again we're saying filter this time instead of map, and then we're giving again the function name. So either you should have up here like implemented the function defined, and we can give it here, or we can directly use the lambda expression again, which is a nameless function again. So here our condition, we can directly now just write our condition here. So you're giving the function along with the condition. So this is our condition, which is checking out whether the x, the given input and parameter value, is even or not. So this is our function and my list, and we can just print it out, result. So let's just run this data file. Oh yes, so that's a good actually point. Now as you can see, we get actually a filter object. So I just forgot to put actually the list. So it was map, and then we were using the list so that we could convert to a list of values, right? Like the list data structure. So here same, this is now producing like a filter object. In the previous one we were having map object, but here a filter object. So instead of this filter object, we can have a list object. So 2, 4, 6, these are even numbers that we want to have. Like we are just grabbing some certain elements from this data structure. So that's where you need to use filter. So now let's talk about reduce. Reduce. So what is it? It continuously applies a function on the list until it returns a single value. So again, each element will be iterated until we get a single value. So you should be really careful with the way you are writing your formula. And let's give an example again in Python. So this time our task will be, okay, given a list of integers, write a code that returns the total value obtained by multiplying elements in the list. So that is our task. So unlike other functions like map and filter functions, actually what we need to do is we need to import this, okay, from the functools. Functools import reduce. So we need to import that reduce function so that we can use it. So from the functools module. So again, I am going to use the same data structure, and I can just say now what I want to do is I want to get just the multiplication of each of them. 1 multiplied by 2, the result multiplied by 3, and then the result is multiplied by 4, and so on until 6. And I will just get that single value. So that's what I'm trying to do. And I can just say again reduce now, and lambda. So this time lambda x and y. Why? Because now I'm using the first and the second element of the list. In each iteration, I'm getting the first and second. And then in the next iteration, it will be 2, 3. In the next iteration, it will be 3, 4, and so on. So that's what x and y are about. X multiplied by y. In each iteration, I'm multiplying them with each other. So again, my list data structure, the name of the variable, and that's it. Now we will get a single result. And we can now see what it is. So, well, I had here a reduce function, but it's okay. We can just use it here, or not to confuse things with each other. I'm just going to move it to reduce function.or .py file. So let's do that, and let's keep them separate from each other. So we can just also say here. All right. So now just run this data file, and you will get that single value. So the multiplication of all these values with each other gives us 720. So for example, we could change this. Like we could say, okay, give me just the total values of all these values. All right. And if you run this again, so then now we will end up with 21, right? The total values of all these will be 21. So this is a really simple example. Like all these examples are simple examples just to understand how things work using this kind of higher order functions.